and then they need RPOs. Well, how do you get rid of RPOs? Well, you're going to play man defense. Well, then if you're playing man defense and you're blitzing more than the offense can protect, and Justin Fields now has to react and think, this is what you're going to do. Then, in hopes of what turns into, is that Justin Field now gets what I call happy feet, because these experts don't understand the movement of the quarterback is also going to affect the pocket and it's going to affect the offensive line. Well, what do I mean? Well, defensive linemen are taught a couple different ways to look past the offensive line. They do not want the defensive lineman to stand up above the offensive line to try to find where the running back is, where the quarterback is. Why? Well, because now you're fixing on that. And two, you're high, and the offensive linemen are able to get underneath your shoulder pads. They're going to drive you. They're going to go after your ribs. They're going to do those things. So defensive linemen are taught a couple different ways to get low, get extension, and you're going to look at one of two things. You're going to look at the feet, or you're going to try to find their hip. You're going to try to get extension from the O line, and you're going to try to look for their hip. Well, depending on what type of pass protection you call, is it a straight bob protection, big on big, where you just want the V pocket? Is it a slide protection where you can move a little bit? It just all depends. So the O linemen know if we're going a certain way, doing a certain pass protection, this is where hopefully the quarterback is. Now, if they stunt and they send linebackers and blitz, that disrupts the pocket. When Justin Fields takes off and runs a couple times, he's going to go back to what he knows. Okay. So they're bringing pressure. He's able to move a little bit. Now we're going to get into last year territory and the beginning of this year territory. What do I mean by that? Well, soon as that 1 to 2 seconds hits, where now he's forced to read a little bit more instead of just getting rid of the ball like we saw the last 2 games, then his reaction is going to be to take off, or it's going to be to move around the pocket when he doesn't need to yet because it's necessarily not breaking down. When that happens, that will tell that the defensive linemen are going to see the hip or the feet move. They're going to try to move with it, which then causes the offensive line to try to move with it. And maybe they're not mentally prepared for it because they're expecting him to stay in a certain area. Because people need to look at that. When the quarterback starts to do that in the pocket, well, then it affects the offensive lineman's pass protection. And then I know they're pros and this shouldn't affect them as much. But as an offensive lineman, if the quarterback's moving and then he gets tackled or whatever, the first instinct is going to be, well, it was our fault because the pocket broke down. I'm not saying it's all on Justin Fields when that happens. I'm not saying it's all on the offensive lineman when that happens. But experts out there are going to say it's all the offensive line and nothing is Justin Fields' fault. But again, these are the type of people that don't understand that part of the game because they don't know the game. And that's okay. They can have their opinions on it. They just have to be open to the idea of, well, it could be the quarterback's fault when he's moving a certain time. The same way I'm going to sit here and admit to you that there are times that offensive line could not pass protect longer than 2 seconds. But that was the game plan for the Vikings.